Welcome to Cartel Chronicles. This is the story of Pablo Escobar, a man who became the world's most wanted drug lord, terrorizing nations with a $30 billion empire built on cocaine, violence, and fear. His name is synonymous with the Medellin cartel, a criminal network that controlled 80% of the global cocaine trade in the 1980s. But how did a poor boy from Medellin, Colombia, rise to become one of the most dangerous men in history? Let's begin at the start. Born on December 1, 1949, in a cramped apartment in Medellin, Pablo Escobar was the son of a factory worker and a housewife. His early years were marked by poverty, but also by a sharp mind and an unrelenting ambition. By his late teens, he was already involved in petty crime, selling stolen goods and smuggling contraband. His first foray into the drug trade came in the late 1960s when he began trafficking marijuana across the Andes. But it was the discovery of cocaine in the 1970s that changed everything. The drug was potent, lucrative, and in high demand in the United States. Escobar saw an opportunity. He partnered with other traffickers, but quickly outmaneuvered them, using violence, intimidation, and a ruthless business model to dominate the trade. By 1976, he had formed the Medellin cartel, a syndicate that would soon become the most powerful drug empire in the world. But power came at a cost. Escobar's rise was marked by bloodshed. His rivals were eliminated, and anyone who stood in his way was silenced. He built a network of enforcers, known as the Cali Boys, who carried out his orders with brutal efficiency. By the early 1980s, the Medellin cartel was smuggling over 200 tons of cocaine annually into the U.S., generating billions in revenue. Escobar's wealth grew exponentially, but so did his notoriety. He became a folk hero to some, a villain to others. To the Colombian government, he was a terrorist. To the U.S., he was a public enemy number one. His empire was built on fear, but also on money. Escobar lavished himself with luxury, building a 20,000-square-foot mansion known as the Palace of the White Skull, complete with a personal zoo, a library, and a movie theater. He funded political campaigns, bribed officials, and even bought a private jet. But his most chilling tactic was the plata o plomo policy, silver or lead. If the government or citizens didn't pay his taxes, they were killed. The Medellin cartel's influence spread far beyond Colombia. They funded paramilitary groups, infiltrated government agencies, and used terror tactics to control entire regions. In 1983, they bombed the Colombian Supreme Court building, killing 11 people. In 1989, they orchestrated the bombing of Avianca Flight 203, an airliner carrying 107 people, though it failed to kill President Virgilio Barco. The U.S. responded with Operation Just Cause, a military intervention in Panama that, while not directly targeting Escobar, signaled a growing determination to confront the drug trade. But the real war was being fought in Colombia. Escobar's enemies included not only the government but also the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration, DEA, which had been tracking him since the 1970s. In 1987, DEA agent Steve Murphy, part of a joint task force with Colombian authorities, began closing in on Escobar's operations. But the cartel was relentless. They assassinated Colombian Attorney General Rodrigo Lara Bonilla in 1988, a move that shocked the world and intensified the U.S. crackdown. By the early 1990s, the Medellin cartel was in decline. The U.S. had launched Operation Thunderbolt, a massive effort to dismantle the cartel's financial networks. Escobar, now a fugitive, went into hiding, using a sprawling 5,000-acre ranch in the jungle as his base. But his empire was crumbling. Rival cartels, like the Cali cartel, were gaining ground. In 1991, the U.S. and Colombian authorities finally captured Escobar. He was arrested in a dramatic raid, then imprisoned in a maximum security facility in La Modelo prison. But Escobar was not defeated. He escaped in 1992, using a tunnel to tunnel out of his cell. The world watched in disbelief as the most wanted man in history fled into the jungle. His final days were spent in a desperate attempt to regroup, but the net was closing. On December 2, 1993, during a police raid in Medellin, Escobar was killed in a hail of gunfire. His body was displayed publicly, a grim symbol of the end of an era. Today, Pablo Escobar's legacy is complex. He is remembered as a criminal, a terrorist, and a drug kingpin who brought chaos to Colombia. But to some, he was a modern-day Robin Hood, a man who redistributed wealth to the poor and challenged a corrupt system. His story is one of ambition, violence, and downfall. But the scars he left on Colombia and the world remain. Subscribe to Cartel Chronicles for more untold stories of crime and chaos.